Alright, so we are going to further modify this Becker BK18. I purchased this knife, well, I picked it out as a Christmas present last year. I haven't really got the dressed elk out yet with it, though I missed twice this year so far. But the reasons for this knife I explained in my last video. This is all about modifying it. Now, the first thing I did when we got this knife is I got these micarta scales, because I knew going in that these plastic scales it comes with are junk. They're just too slippery, too slick. And considering I'm gonna have bloody hands when I work with this thing, dressing out an elk, I couldn't have that. So I wanted something that was a little bit more grippy than that. And these were an upgrade. So that was the first modification. Second modification is this loop on the end. With a lot of my field knives, I just like to put it in there like that. Twist it. So it allows me to hold back on the knife. So if I have to, I could use it to chop like little saplings or something like that. Just to get more leverage on the blade going forward. I tried scraping off that paint right there, so I could strike a ferro rod there, but I didn't have much success with the ferro rod with this. It's either the steel or just none of, or the angle there. I'm not sure. But what we are going to do now, pop the scales off, strip all the paint off, which I think was Ka-Bar's way of cheap way of rust prevention. But we're going to strip the paint off, and then we're going to try to patina this thing. Make this thing look like a knife that a modern day mountain man would be proud to use. Alright, here we are with the scales off. When I originally swapped the scales in this thing, I thought this thing was full tang, and it's not. It's a skeletonized full tang, if you want to call it that. And I don't know how I feel about that. I have seen other videos on YouTube where, especially this one guy named Joe X. This guy, all he does is test and trash knives. And this thing actually held out a lot better than I thought it would. Just the same, I think I'd prefer a full tang. On the other hand, I suppose there is a little bit of weight savings there. And weight is an issue for me. I am an ounce weenie. I didn't start out that way, but I certainly am turning into that. I'm making a point of it because if anybody out there who's looking to buy a knife, this particular knife, just know this going in. Here's the back side of the upgraded scale. All right, let's go strip the paint off of this thing. Not all paint strippers created equal. Don't get that green crap in a paste. Environmentally friendly. Anything environmentally friendly does not work. Well, this is not coming off as easily as I thought it would. First hint of what lies beneath. Definitely need something to scrape it with. I was trying that wood dowel so don't scratch the metal, but it's pretty stubborn. Alright, well, I'll get back to you when this thing is clean. Alright, well, I got most of it off. Still a little bit on, what was it, this side. That paint is harder to get off than I thought. It has a little bit of a patina on its own, but I think I'm still going to give it a vinegar bath. Looks a lot better. Just wiped it down with some acetone. Wish I remembered this earlier, but you know that brass cleaning brush, you probably haven't been using that much over a nylon one. Works great for this job. I scratched it a little bit right there, but alrighty. Alright, here goes. I hope I don't tip this can over. I'm a little worried that it's gonna tip and my vinegar all over the garage. Maybe. Living dangerously now. That stove is barely going. We're on the edge of boiling over. "20 minutes per side." That's what we did. 20 minutes on the blade, 20 minutes on the tang. Yeah, that scuffed it a little bit right there. But looks like it's parkerized. We'll get underneath the shop light in a minute. Alright, well, I think it could have come out a little bit better. I washed it off with some soap and water, and when it came out almost black, parkerized, a lot of that washed off, which isn't a bad thing. But anything when I was cleaning the paint off, whether I scratched the steel like right here, or I didn't get all the paint off, it definitely comes back and tells on you after you give it that vinegar bath. Almost got like a two-tone thing going on right here. Now, right here, it looked like there's a bunch of rust right there when I first pulled it out. I think it's because of the way it was sitting in there, kind of like that. So I didn't get a good bath on both sides. I'm not put off, but I actually think this is going to look a lot better than what it was. But when you go and clean that paint off, you definitely want to take the time and get everything right. Use a brass brush from the get-go, maybe. Don't just scrape it off with a pair of pliers like a dumbass. I didn't get all the paint off right here, so that's definitely telling on me. The scales will be on there anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, well, here we go. All back together. I hit it with the sharpening stone, rubbed off a little bit just like the paint. I have a feeling over time that this patina is going to wear off. In the meantime, it'll probably help prevent rust. But it's not like it's hard to put it on there to begin with. First time I've done this, and I'm happy with the results. This looks a lot better than what it did before. I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, and goobered it up right there. I did the same thing when I sharpened it to the sharpening guides. But all right, you have a good one. Maybe we both learned something out of this.